My name's Tanya. I'm from southwest England. I currently live in the northwest of Johannesburg. I love Africa. I love travelling. I like the old vehicles. For 20-something years, I didn't do anything other than bring up my son, kept adopting animals.
She gets in a roundabout circle here. It's the same thing every day, you know, get up, brush your teeth, have breakfast, look after the grandparents, look after the dogs. And I get the routine gets boring, it gets too much. She'd been talking about going up for Africa for quite some years now.
And I kept promising my son, we'd do a road trip, we'd do a road trip, and we just never had the money.
And we never really had the perfect car. Then I got this car, I bought it as a joke. And then literally as I drove down the driveway, Mum came running out and she was like, no, this is the car I'm gonna go up for Africa in.
So when he bought the Mercedes in the yard, and this little voice in my head just went, you're gonna do a road trip. This is just so, how can I? I'm a full-time carer for my parents. They need frail care all the time. But I came in the house and got my Michelin map out, and there was the route. The route in my mind was already drawn. So that's it. I just knew. I started to plan. Mentally, I started to plan. And there was no doubt in my mind that this is what I was going to do. It was really like an epiphany. And you know what? Everybody supported me. Nobody turned around and said, you can't do that, which is what I normally say when I have an idea, you know? And it all came together like it was meant to be.
So travelling's, I would say in a nutshell, given Mum a bit of a purpose again. Now Mum is an ambassador for a few really nice companies. She's learning social media, digital marketing. It's given her a really great purpose to continue, and now she can plan another trip, which will, who knows what it's going to lead to.
Well, I started travelling as a child. My father travelled the world, so we started in Europe, and then as a teenager we went to America a lot. And then he lived in Japan, so I travelled the whole of the Far East. I did Australia on my own. And then I did what I really wanted to do, and I found a way to come to Africa. The University of London were looking for volunteers to dehorn black rhino up in Chirisa, north of Zimbabwe. I did a lot of safari guiding. I met my son's father in Victoria Falls. I'd learned such a lot. I didn't want to go home, so I stayed in Vic Falls for a few years.
From a young age, I've been in and out of Africa. It was Zimbabwe, Botswana, so not your typical young child's upbringing for some people, put it that way. It was always a plane somewhere, going somewhere, dealing with wild animals, a whole bunch of just adventures. That's one big life for us, essentially, is always doing something. Mum got me into biking and then into cars. It's never been a normal life, I guess you could say.
I feel that I'm living my best life because I'm in Africa, yeah. I'm living in a rural area. Now I have an old vehicle. Everything's changed for me. It's like somebody took the lid off and there was this bright light underneath. I still want to travel a lot of places in Africa. I'd like to go up Lake Malawi, go across the bottom of Tanzania, up Lake Tanganyika. I really want to see the gorillas. So Burundi, Rwanda, come back for Uganda, and then back down the coast. I love the Indian Ocean. So that's my immediate bucket list. I'd like to go to Cuba, renew my Spanish there. Yeah, a lot more places to see in Africa, a lot more cultures to experience.
The traveling's good for her, so it's always good for her to be able to go out and actually get back into what she loves.
There are so many things I could say about achieving your bucket list, okay? On a spiritual level, you've kind of dealt with more karma. On an emotional level, you've gained self-confidence and you've learned a lot about yourself, because you will get into situations which you wouldn't normally get into. And it's how you deal with them and how your attitude is that gets you through and doesn't make you think, wish I hadn't done this. It's like most terrible things, they're awful when they happen, and when you get home, they're a good laugh and you tell people about it around the dining table. But I think that the most important thing is meeting people. When I decide I'm going to do something, I have this sort of inner sense that I'm not going to fail. So ticking off your bucket list, you're growing as a person. You're growing in knowledge, you're growing emotionally, and it takes away any bias that you may have about other cultures. Because other cultures are just people that you haven't met yet. So that's the big thing. Everybody's the same, everybody has interesting stories, everybody has a story to tell, not just you who's ticking off your bucket list.